Welcome to the Blue and Orange Breakfast Show. We have a lot to talk about this morning. Jalen Brunson, he didn't play in last night's loss to the Golden State Warriors, but we did get some injury updates that seem to be hopeful and positive. Landry Shamet made a return to the lineup. We'll discuss his return performance. Ayo DeSumo trade. Is this something that the Knicks should seriously consider? Or are we tied to our young players and we're making them untradeable? Mitchell Robinson, he is a very polarizing guy. Some people love him. Some people criticize the load management. We're going to get into that. We'll talk about a little bit about last night's game with the Warriors, just some sound bites after the game. 11 new players were made available past the January 15th deadline. And we'll discuss and look at those players to see if one of those guys could help out these Knicks. And boy, don't we need it. And then another question I want to ask, do we rely on Josh Hart too much? But the question of the day, the chemistry issues, I really want to spend some time on that. If we are maybe overlooking chemistry issues that may appear right in front of us. But we're going to talk about that and more on this morning show, the Blue and Orange Breakfast Show. Good morning, Knicks family. Welcome to the show. I am your host, Karan Pierre, the Objective Fan, and I'm straight out of Kings County, New York City's finest, and you know the vibes. Tell a friend that we're live, man. Welcome to the show. Definitely hit those like buttons on the way in. Subscribe if you're not subscribing. If you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. Big time salute to everybody in the chat, all the channel mods, all the members. I see you, Maxine. Salute to Maxine, the executive producer of this show. And big time salute to Just Knicks, the first one to comment on the show. Got a couple of things I want to talk about this morning. Before we get to the heat of it, I do want to take some time and discuss the NBA as a whole and go over some of these things. By the way, the Knicks in 10 show will be today. We decided unless something crazy happens, we'll postpone Knicks Nocturnal till another time. And tomorrow morning, NBA Saturdays will be going down in the morning. So be on the lookout for that live show. Tonight, we'll go live with the Knicks in 10 at 9 p.m. For those who want to know, let me go into research mode. Bam! So these are some of the scores. Of course, we know the Knicks lost 126 to 113 in a tough matchup. Against a team that has had outnumbered. The Golden State Warriors, they won 4 out of the last 6 games. So, yeah, trouble there. The Orlando Magic, they just got back their best player on their team, Franz Wagner. They got both Wagner brothers, and they played the first game in Germany. And they were able to get a win against the Memphis Grizzlies. The Detroit Pistons continue to show dominance in the Eastern Conference. They beat the Phoenix Suns last night, 108 to 105. The Boston Celtics beat the Heat, 119 to 114 as the Boston Celtics dethroned the Knicks as the second seed in the East. Oklahoma City Thunder, 111 to 91 against the Rockets. The Rockets seem to have fallen from grace recently. I know they just got Sengun back, but they've been losing some games as of late. Of course, the San Antonio Spurs hopefully did the Knicks a favor by smacking the Milwaukee Bucks 119 to 101. And maybe one day Giannis figures it out and says, I am the Knicks championship's last piece. I want to go to New York. So we got to hope that Giannis continues to lose. The Dallas Mavericks, they smacked the Utah Jazz at home 144 to 122. We actually got a date with Dallas on Monday, and it seems like every time we play these lowly teams, they just perform well. The Portland Trailblazers beat the Hawks 117 to 1-on-1 as the Hawks try to find their way without Trae Young. And they've been losing some games, but we'll see what will happen with those Hawks. And then the Lakers, I mean, it's like when you look at the Lakers and the Knicks, we kind of parallel each other. They got smacked by the Charlotte Hornets, but at home. See, we got smacked on the road by Sacramento. The Lakers got smacked at home, 135 to 117. So that's just some things that took place around the league. Before I continue with the news stuff, I just thought about something. We hit the milestone recently, 1,800 subscribers. We are on the road to 10,000 subs, but our next milestone is 2,000 subs. So definitely continue to smash that subscribe button if you're not subscribed and help us grow. And we will get to those milestones very soon. I just wanted to make sure I share that. I do want to go over some news from last night's game. Unfortunately, the Knicks lose a tough one in Golden State. Real and Knicks faltered without Jalen Brunson and lost to the Warriors in a disappointing trip. Now, we did a post-game call-up show. I do have to edify the audience that if you did watch the show last night, there was an error with the score. But we did change it. The score was 126 to 113. Just in case you did watch that show. And we did, it got a little crazy. I allowed the people to talk last night because, it was just a very emotionally spent last night. But at the end of the day, it is what it is. But I just wanted to get to some of the news of the game. So I'm not going to talk about breaking down the game, but just some news stories surrounding the game. Jalen Brunson was in street clothes, and you could see him in this somber look at the end of the game, walking across the court as the Warriors and the Knicks greeted each other. Steph Curry, of course, had an amazing second half. I think in the first half, Steph Curry had, I believe it was 5 points. And then he turned it around in the second half and became, a thorn in the Knicks side. He missed his first 4 threes and then turned it up towards the end of the game. All right. Now, Draymond Green and Towns had a back and forth, as always. And when we talk about chemistry, I do want to, I'm going to highlight this probably again a little bit later in the show. But when he was asked about his back and forth with Draymond Green, Towns responded, "Ain't no relevance in my life. I'm good." And Towns has a way of just like downplaying stuff. I remember last year when he made the comments about believing that when he said Towns was scared of Jimmy Butler, right? And he didn't believe his excuse of having to go to a funeral and all those things. Towns said, "Well, I'm going to respond with love." But we'll touch on that a little bit later when we get to chemistry. But once again, this was his opportunity to, let the world know, I don't like Draymond, get him out of here. I understand professionalism. I'm not saying that you got to be something you're not. I get it, professionalism and all that good stuff. But at the end of the day, this dude is always coming for your neck, right? And you just kind of just let it go, And I don't know. I just wish that he would just say something because this guy, he's a thorn in Towns' side, but he's also a thorn in the Knicks side. And he always has these things to say about us. So it's very disappointing and it's hard to defend us when every time we go up against him, he beats us. It's like, and then Green responds, "I don't want to give my secrets away, but I do like the matchup in terms of matching up with Towns." Green also said, "But I do like playing against the perennial all-stars and stars in this league. I enjoy those matchups. Those are the matchups that really get me going. It's an honor. It's an honor to play against a guy like Karl Towns. Make no mistake, Karl Towns is one of the better big men in this league. I cherish that. I know I go out there and I talk my junk and I stir the pot a little bit for sure. But but the respect I have for talents like that, for guys who has done it in 10 or 11 years at a high level. But when you step in between those lines, there's no time for that. And that's what I want to see more from the Knicks. That's what I want to see more from the Knicks. Like we when we step in those lines, man, we need more focus, man. We need more killer instinct. All right. And then but when you step in those lines, there's no time for that. It's time to compete. It's time for me to try to get better because you're going to try to get the better end of me. And that's facts. It's killed to be killed out there. And that's how you have to carry that energy. And that's the one guy in the league that brings the best out of me. And I'm always grateful for the opportunity. In the first half, Draymond Green had 3 points, 1 rebound. I said, okay, maybe we could get this win. Draymond is quiet. And then the antics. See, with Draymond, it's not about the stats. He has an impact that goes beyond stats. See, things like this you can't quantify. Him getting under Cat's skin. He's talking to Cat throughout the whole game. We don't know what he's telling Cat. We don't know. But clearly what he tells Cat affects him. Now, I did love Cat's effort. I felt like Cat definitely put up a great effort. 20 rebounds. I take that on any night. He was very dominant on the offensive glass. But, when it comes to scoring and getting buckets and really being on the floor when his team need him, yeah, Cat, I felt like he let us down. He allowed the antics, Draymond Green, in terms of drawing that fifth foul. I'm not going to say everyone could see it. I saw it. I saw that Draymond was going to try to bait Cat. But that's all. If you want to read this article, you could go check it out on the New York Post. It'll also be on the Substack on Monday when I do This Week Inside the Knicks. But I just wanted to touch on some news items that took place from the game. Nothing else really, this routine textbook stuff. Oh, we got to do better. I mean, it is what it is. We don't got time for that in the morning. Let's just keep it moving. I'm going to go to the next topic. And wow, so many directions I can go in. Let's talk about, since we're on the game, we could talk about Landry Shamet and his return. Definitely happy to see that. I'm always rooting for Landry Shamet because I know the sacrifice he did for us last year, foregoing surgery, and for himself realistically as well, because, when you're a player at the bottom of the roster, big time salute to Landry Shamet. When you're a player at the bottom of the roster, there is no guarantees. There's no guarantees. So you got to make decisions that others will look at like it's crazy. But for him, it was a decision of, livelihood. If he would have opted for the surgery, he might not be in the league right now. The only reason why we know Landry Shamet and his abilities because he played. He came back, had some good moments, and then he played this year and was averaging 9 points per game. So what he did last year got him to this year. You see what I'm saying? To the point where he sprains his shoulder, and instead of, releasing him, the Knicks decide to keep him. So, Landry Shamet returned after nearly 2 months. He missed 25 games. So, Landry Shamet, he's a hard worker, Mike Brown said on Thursday. There wasn't much, I wasn't there the whole time watching him rehab or getting reports on him. But when I did see him, he was getting after it. It means a lot to see him play. And that's his return. Knicks had high hopes for him. Like I said, he survived the partial guarantee contract deadline, and he will be a Knick for the rest of the year unless he gets traded. And I don't see the Knicks trading him right now. He played 15 games, started 6, and through the first portion of the Knicks season, he averaged 9.3 points on 45% shooting from the field and 42% shooting from 3. When we talk about the sumo and that trade rumor, part of the reason the reluctance is, I think, Landry Shamet, because he kind of gives you a little what the sumo gives you. I'm not saying he's as good as the sumo, but he gives you a little that they're the same size. They shoot the 3 very well, both shooting at 42% or over 40%. But I thought that Shamet had a nice showing. He hit his first 3. That's major. You can't really expect more out of him, and especially in the game like this, because, the Knicks, they dropped the ball. But 16 minutes, 6 points, I take that. 2 of 7. The shooting could get better, but he did get a steal, and he had some moments in this game. So, that's my Landry Shamet take. And, I'm curious to know when we get to the call-up section of the show how you guys feel. But, before we return, let's take a listen to these messages.
Real question. Do you actually know basketball, or do you just watch it? Because most fans watch games and talk, but they're not breaking anything down. No tracking, no documentation, no real analysis, just reactions and baseless opinions. 82 Nights changes that though. Over 200 pages to analyze what you're watching, track rotations, break down patterns, highlight players, take actual notes. That's how you go from someone who watches to someone who knows. That's how your basketball IQ levels up. Link in chat, hardcover or soft, stop guessing, start documenting today.
All right, definitely. Go check out the 82 Nights, the official basketball intelligence system when you get the chance and the opportunity. All you have to do is go to the Linktree /The Objective Fan. And also, if you would like to send a super chat, if you would like me to respond to your message, you can do that from the Linktree as well. And you could also hit the Cash App as well and send the message if you would like. And matter of fact, since I'm talking about that, boom, put that on the screen as well. So definitely, but the Linktree is where it's at. Everything that I have going is there. So if you want to support the show, many ways you can support the show. I do appreciate all of the support you guys give me. It goes a long way. Okay, I just got my message from the producer. We're going to get to that morning report, the news report, very shortly. You know, she always does a great job with that. So let me keep on cooking. There's a couple of more things definitely we got to talk about. I'm going to get to the chemistry issues later. We talked about Landry Shamet. I'll talk about Brunson a little bit later as well. We do got a game against Phoenix. You know, this morning I couldn't give you the Phoenix preview. But we did play against them recently. We pretty much know what to expect. They lost some games. We lost some games since we last seen each other. I'll say this about Phoenix. I think that this is the time we can get them, you know, especially if Brunson can come back. We'll talk about that. But, you know, this is a game we have to win. If there's a must-win game, it is this Phoenix Suns game in the Garden, right? Because we went to Phoenix, so this will be in the Garden. So the boys in orange and blue will have to respond, okay? Now, I want to talk about the DeSumo trade really briefly. I saw this article, right? And I was like, yeah, I don't want DeSumo. You know, I don't want it. And I'm going to put this on the screen so you guys can see it. And so, boom, Knicks rule out perfect trade target if this is the asking price, okay? Now, according to James L. Edwards, he thinks that the Knicks can get DeSumo, but it would have to start with Deuce McBride. So when I saw that, I said, DeSumo for Deuce. DeSumo is a ball player. Don't get it twisted, but I like what Deuce has been giving us. And I feel like if we were to give up Deuce McBride, that could come back to haunt us, especially if you send him to Chicago, right? Now, DeSumo is like I said, look, let me get his basketball reference up really quickly. He's no slouch. But when I first saw that, I said, I don't want to trade Deuce McBride. And it's not because I'm married to players and I think that, oh yeah, you know, I want him to be a Knick for life. Some of you guys have that philosophy. You guys need to abandon it. This is about a championship. So I'm looking at, does DeSumo check off the championship boxes? Now, the one thing I like about DeSumo is he's actually shooting 44% from three. Okay? He's averaging 14.3 points a game, mostly off the bench. All right? And listen, look at this kid. He's doing it on 4 attempts. So, yeah, this kid is a dead-eye shooter on a Chicago Bulls team that has gone from the top of the East to damn near rock bottom. And the key thing about this kid, and I'm going to show you here, is the business of basketball. And this is why he may be available for trade. And it always go back to money. This is the last year of his deal. And he's not a guarantee. He's not a restricted free agent because he got the qualifying offer, which was the $7 million. Okay. So that would make him an unrestricted free agent. So that gives the Bulls some impotence to want to trade for him, right? And in my opinion, I do believe that I do believe that um that makes him a commodity that could be a valuable piece for these New York Knicks, right? What say you? What do you think about that? Of course, Deuce McBride's salary doesn't match his. You still would need an extra $3 million in salary. So the hope here is maybe Chicago wants to conserve money, and then they could bring back Deuce. Hello, Maxine. Give me a second. I'm going over this Deuce Sumo trade. All right. So all right. I just wanted to let Max know on the back end. So we got her on the back end, but so that's the politics with the Sumo, right? The question is, do you want to trade Deuce McBride to get him? Let's say you offer Yabusele and Pacome. That's the favorite package everybody wants to put up. Would you do that deal? I'm gonna say no, because I feel like now you got another 6'4" guard. Here's the real problem. He's 6'4". He's 6'4". Now he's better than Keon Ellis. He's better than Keon Ellis from the standpoint of he can actually initiate offense and pick and roll. I'm not saying he's a point guard, but Ellis doesn't do that. Ellis is a corner boy. This guy can help facilitate offense. I think that if you do this deal, let's say you do Pacome and Yaba, you got to do another deal. And you're going to have to trade somebody who you feel like you don't want to trade, whether it's Kolick, whether it's Clarkson. You're going to have to, because you can't just have a boatload of 6'4" dudes. You're going to have to package some of your 6'4" and under dudes to get somebody 6'9". So if we get the Sumo and then we get like a 6'9" dude, I'm with it. But that's where we are with the Sumo. All right. I'm just curious to know what's the price you're willing to pay for this kid. I gave you the politics of basketball with him, and I do think that this Bulls team is looking to move off of him because they know that, one, he might command a bag more so than what they would like to pay for him. All right. So let's get Maxie on the line. But I'm really I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle with that. But hello, Maxine.
Good morning. Good morning. I'm here with the morning news. I just want to start off with the Arctic blast. It's the big story this morning. It's a biting 32 degrees in the home of the Knicks, NYC, but it feels like the single digits with the wind chill, man. So bundle up. New Yorkers are bracing for a doubleheader of winter weather. Light dusting starts tonight, but the real punch comes tomorrow, Saturday, with up to 3 inches of snow on the way. So grab your shovels. All right. Developing at this hour in terms of local news, a high stakes legal showdown at the federal building. A judge is set to hear the case of Rafael Borroquez, the city council analyst detained by ICE. Speaker Julie Menin says the feds have the wrong man. ICE says he's been here illegally for years. We'll have a report live at the courthouse probably around 10:31. You can catch the rest on CNN to follow that. Day 5 on the picket lines, 15,000 nurses are still out at New York Presbyterian and Montefiore Hospital. Federal mediators are walking into the room right now to try and bridge the gap on safe staffing levels. If you have an appointment at a major hospital today, call ahead because disruptions are widespread. Now, in terms of world news, turning to the world stage, tensions are escalating in Eastern Europe this morning, guys. Intelligence reports suggest a massive troop buildup along the border, prompting an emergency session of UN Security Council scheduled for noon today. In the Middle East, diplomatic efforts are intensifying as the ceasefire enters its second week. The State Department says the Secretary of State will arrive in the region tonight to push for a permanent peace deal. On the rails, the MTA is reporting good service across most lines, but keep an eye on the F train, guys, which has been plagued by signal problems all morning, and it can extend to your evening commute. And don't forget, those $3 fares are just around the corner. Check your route at mta.info. And in terms of sports, the Knicks are gearing up for a massive Garden showdown tomorrow night against the Phoenix Suns after getting smacked by the Golden State Warriors last night. Let's wish them well. And the forecast again, bittery cold today with a high of 34 in New York City. Clouds thicken tonight with light snow arriving by dawn. Another system brings more accumulation on Sunday. So that's your morning news wrap up, guys. But now to pay some bills before swinging back to Quran, here's a word from our sponsors. Right now, you're watching basketball like everyone else. 82 Nights flips that. Break down every game, track player development, catch lineup patterns before they become obvious, make calls you can back up months later, go from casual fan to serious analyst. When you're a part of the objective Knicks fan nation, guys, it's only right that you come correct. Go get your 82 Nights basketball intelligence system, available now. Hardcover for that exclusive collectible feel, something you can pass down to your kids or their kids, or soft cover for heavy duty journalistic use. Linktree / the objective fan. The link is in the chat. The link is in the video. The link is in description. Go get that now. And in exciting news, the Objective Fan brand is partnering with creators and adjacent brands this year. If you've got a product, a service, a brand, or business that you want to promote to thousands of passionate Knicks fans, we have turnkey opportunities for you to lock in today. Let me break down what we're offering. Ad rotations for just $75, guys. You get a 30-second ad placed in rotation throughout one full episode. Your ad displays multiple times during the show, at the start, during breaks, maximum visibility. Perfect if you're a creator, a small business, got a Knicks-related product, sports apparel, tech apps, whatever you're selling, we'll put it in front of our audience and you'll grow with us. The sky is the limit. Link goes in the description. You get exposure to live viewers plus all the replay views. All right. One episode, $75. Simple. Now, if you want to tell your story, we're actually introducing the Business Spotlight. This is a full 30-minute interview feature. You come on the show and we talk about your business, your journey, what you do, how people can support you. You get your name and logo in the video thumbnail, direct links to your website and socials in the description, plus your interview cross-pollinated across all of our social media channels, including TikTok and Facebook. It's permanent content on the Objective Knicks Fan Sports channel, and that right there is evergreen visibility. You never know which video is going to pop off. This is $250 to lock in, and it's perfect for anyone trying to authentically connect with a niche audience of passionate fans, all right? Be a part of it. And here's the big one. You can actually co-host the show with Karan Pierre, the objective fan himself. Not for everyone. Those who are serious about their craft and serious about the Knicks, tap in. For 150, you co-host one full episode of the Blue and Orange Breakfast Show or Knicks Nocturnal. Your choice. Your name goes in the video title, in the thumbnail. You get equal airtime with Karan Pierre himself, and you guys are building the content together. We'll be cross promoting your interview and your co-host opportunity all across our social platforms. This is perfect for content creators trying to grow their audience, other Knicks personalities, business owners who want serious visibility. 150, one episode equal co-host status. To activate, you send a Cash App to $the objective fan, and in the for section, enter your name and email so we can reach out immediately and get things in motion for you. You can also reach out to me personally via email at Maxine@thisweekinsidetheknicks.com. Again, that's Maxine, MAXINE, at thisweekinsidetheknicks.com if you have any questions. All right, now let's get into what you really came here for. Back to you, Karan.
Thank you, Maxine. Definitely all this information that she just shared, you can find it directly on Linktree, and that's Linktree / the objective fan, which is the link that I've been pushing the whole show. Right. As far as I'm gonna jump into some more topics. Then we'll get into the morning wake up call. But 11 more players became available for trade. And a lot of these guys that's on this list is definitely based on politics, right? So you have Santi Adama, right? Josh Giddey, but he just signed his extension. He's not going nowhere. Quentin Grimes, there's been some issues with Quentin Grimes in terms of him wanting a bag. We know that he's on the qualifying offer right now. Hold on, am I in the right research mode? Let me get back to the right research mode. But okay, let me keep it going. So Quentin Grimes, Isaiah Jackson, big man from the Pacers. I doubt they trade him, but hey, you never know. Warriors, Jonathan Kuminga. Some motivation from the Warriors to trade him. He's on the team option next year, so his contract is not guaranteed. Trey Mann from the Hornets. How do you guys feel about Trey Mann from the Hornets? Sam Merrill, Davion Mitchell from the Heat. I'm good on that. Paul Reed from the Pistons. He's not going anywhere. Nas Reed and Ryan Rollins, who more than likely won't go anywhere. So those are some guys that can be traded now, right? Because we know that once you sign your extension or you sign a deal with a team, that depending on the time, you got to wait 3 months. So these are the guys who signed a little bit later with their teams, and they're now available for trade. And then of course Russell Westbrook, he becomes eligible today. The Hawks guard Keaton Wallace, he will become eligible on the 18th. DeAndre Jordan becomes eligible on the 23rd, and Knicks forward Mikal Bridges becomes eligible for trade on February 1st. Lakers guard Luka, February 2nd. He's not going nowhere. And Precious Achiuwa, who some of you guys want back, he becomes available for trade on the 4th because he signed later and with the Kings after he was cut by Miami. And then De'Aaron Fox, who's not going anywhere, on February 4th. Just to give you some guys additional guys that we could actually try to target and we can try to get. On this list, a couple of people crossed my eyes, but I don't think we'll be able to get them. Trey Mann from the Hornets is a little interesting to me, but I'm not sure if we really need him. But what say you? But the main guy that's on this list is Mikal Bridges. So, but yeah, so those are the 11 guys that can be traded. As far as Mitchell Robinson, then I want to touch on the chemistry, and then Brunson. Okay. In terms of Mitchell Robinson, we know that he is on one of those Leon Rose's thin ice kind of vibes right now, because he was eligible to sign an extension for the longest now, and no extension has came. And we know usually Leon Rose will get rid of you, right? But here's something to consider. Now, going into next season, Mitchell Robinson could end up being the best available center, right? And the reason for that is because Jalen Durant, Walker Kessler, but they are restricted free agents, so they're not going anywhere, okay? You have Isaiah Hartenstein, right? But besides Isaiah Hartenstein, there's no other big guys there. You got DeAndre Ayton, right? Who, he has a player option, but I don't know if DeAndre Ayton is going to opt out. He might, because there's a lot of reports that he's not happy there. De'Aaron Sharp, he's a young boy, team option, but he could be cut. Brook Lopez, Al Horford, old. Okay, Robert Williams and Nikola Vucevic, maybe, but Robert Williams' injury. Now, Vucevic is a nice piece, so Mitchell Robinson and Vucevic possibly is his best competition for getting the bag. Kristaps Porzingis, I don't think. Well, if Mitchell Robinson can stay healthy, I don't think KP's value will be that high. So, because of that, Daily Knicks is saying that the Knicks should trade Mitchell Robinson because his asking price, just based on competition, is too high. What say you? Right now, I'm still on the side of not trading Mitchell Robinson because realistically, I don't see us getting anybody back who can handle the postseason grind. Now, if you give me somebody who I can rely on in a postseason, I'm talking about when it's time to go up against those guys. And those guys are Jokic, those guys are Wemby, those guys are Sengun, possible guys that you may see in the finals. If you make it to the finals, then on the Eastern Conference, you got the Twin Towers in Cleveland. You got Orlando Magics, right? You got the Detroit Pistons, right? So it's something to really think about, really ponder. Like, if I could get I don't even have the guide, to be honest, but I'm just concerned about postseason. That's where my mind is. Now, you could say, well, there's no guarantees he'll be there in the postseason. That's a fact, but we'll never know until it happens. But what say you about Mitchell Robinson? It's like a double-edged sword. You can see the reasons to trade him. There are reasons to trade him, but realistically, what he brings and his experience in the postseason and in big games, I don't know if you're going to get somebody that can replicate that. And, with Towns looking the way he looks at times, you're going to need somebody who can come in and either replace him. Hopefully Towns doesn't miss time, but even just backing him up, or even someone that maybe can play next to him. And we know that the double big lineup has been a consistent failure, right? And I want to touch on chemistry. I'm going to touch on team chemistry because team chemistry is something that a lot of people are for the first time. I don't really remember us getting so much heat for chemistry. I could be off on that. Maybe prior to Jalen Brunson, okay? Because I remember Jalen Brunson said when he first came to the Knicks, no one in the locker room spoke. But ever since Jalen Brunson has got there, the Knicks locker room has been, pretty good. So what do you guys think about chemistry? Do we have underlying chemistry issues? Right? Salute to my man J-Tap, Knicks Tape Madness Discord server channel member. He was at the Knicks Golden State game yesterday, and he was giving us like the inside scoop of the things that you can't see on TV. I'm going to touch on that in a second, but Paul Pierce says something, and I know Paul Pierce is a proven Knick hater, but he still is a former NBA player, so you got to at least listen to what he says. You don't have to agree with what he says. I don't agree with most of the things that he says, but I like to. This is why I bring other people on the show as well from other teams, because you have to get that other perspective. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but sometimes we need to hear what the other people are saying about us, because we're so locked into the Knicks that we're too close to really see the big picture. So even though Pierce is a Knicks hater, but listen to what he says, right? So Pierce says that Cat wants out after the 6-point game against the Pistons. Towns had 6 point, 1 rebound, 1 assist, 23 minutes against Detroit. It wasn't close enough to get the job done, of course. Pierce told Garnett and Allen that Towns lacked engagement in the game, okay, resulting in the 6-point stat line. The talented big man doesn't like the Knicks offense, which may be true because, we have the sound bites of Towns saying he doesn't know how to fit in and looking kind of just disgruntled with how his performance is going. Now, whether or not he's upset with Mike Brown or they can't get along, I don't know about that. But I will say that I'm leaning towards it more than likely just being frustrating with the fact that he's not playing well and losing. If you're not playing to the standard that you want to perform at and you're losing, that could be the source of frustration. It don't have to necessarily be what Pierce is saying, right? But he says, I saw Towns get 6, 1, and 1 the other day in 23 minutes. I'm thinking I can do that. I'm saying I don't think he's happy there. He's too talented. He's too good for that type of stuff. So that's telling me in my mind that he's not happy there, right? He looked like he ain't messing with the offense, and that's what he had to say. What do you guys think about that? Of course, KG gave some pushback, right? KG said you expected more from him, but he wasn't dialed in. Garnett said he went on to credit the Pistons for circling the game on the calendar, which is true. I think the Pistons definitely had a little bit more intensity for us on that night. And so because of that, that possibly is what led to, the game going the way it did. But what do you think? Do you think that there is chemistry issues on this team? So my man J-Tap was at the game, and he said that what we couldn't see on TV, or if you did see it on TV, you got a really good eye. He said that Mikal Bridges was visibly upset with Deuce McBride. Visibly upset with Deuce McBride. And I didn't really see that. So I'm like, what was it, a turnover? What was it? I'm trying to figure that out. And then he said that he noticed that, because we asked him about Karl Anthony Towns, and he says, oh man, Towns is someone who just looked confused out. Like he looked like he didn't know what the hell was going on. And he would just have this puzzled look every time he stared at the bench. Now, this is according to J-Tap. Salute to J-Tap. I do appreciate him. Knicks State Madness Discord server channel member. He was letting us know this in the Discord. And a couple of more things he let us know. But this is why you guys should join the channel. Get access to that Knicks State Madness Discord server. You know, you just never know what you're going to get in there. And, I just felt like, damn, I'm not seeing this on TV. So if we're not seeing this on TV, and I'm talking about with the Deuce and Mikal Bridges. Yeah, Towns definitely looks like he's disinterested at times, but you could also attribute that to just him not performing well, missing shots, getting fouls, the refs, something that we spoke about. What do you think, right? Do we have chemistry? Then the most notable thing for me, and I'll wrap it there, and then we'll take some calls. Like, Draymond Green and Towns clearly don't like each other, right? They clearly have beef with him. Well, Draymond to be honest, Draymond says some things about Towns right before the game, but then usually after the game, Draymond, he's like, he gives credit, right? To be fair, I'm the objective fan, right? Draymond doesn't just all the way dog out Towns all the time. He said he'll do stuff in the game and before the game, but after the game, he usually gives credit, like I showed you earlier. He says he thinks Towns is a hell of a player. So I think on Draymond's side is just basketball, but on Towns' side, it could be more than just that, because he did make some comments about the brother, but Towns said he responded with love. So I don't know. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the looks are there. You can see that there's something to Towns at times where if you don't watch the Knicks a lot, you may think that he wants out. I'm not saying that I believe that Towns wants out, but I'm just adding it to this whole chemistry bag that he gets into a situation with Draymond Green, and then his teammates literally 1 minute later starts dapping up Draymond like, yo, we gonna meet at the club tonight. And I don't know. I'm just from a different era in time, I guess. If I have an issue with a guy, y'all not gonna be dapping this dude up. And if you guys do it, then y'all going to hear a mouthful from me from the locker room. But is Towns doing that? I doubt it, because the same thing happened last year. They had an encounter. Him and Draymond had an encounter. And after the game, not everybody. Josh Hart, I think Mitchell Robinson went to the locker room. He and Mitchell Robinson went to the locker room together. Didn't dap up nobody last year. But then pretty much mostly everybody else was giving pounds to the opposing team. So what say you? I mean, I don't know. It seems like there could be some chemistry issues there, but I'm out in the locker room. I don't know. It's still, no matter what we say or what we think, it's still speculation. But I'm gonna get to these calls right after this brief segment, right after these brief messages. So before I get back to the content, I do want to let you guys know I created a new Linktree page, linktree.com/theobjectivefan. All you gotta do is go there, check it out. I got all types of stuff on there. You can send me a super chat. You can buy 82 Nights Journal, everything that I'm pushing, my Substack link, my YouTube link, my TikTok. If you want to connect with me more, want to get my email address, everything I'm pushing is directly on linktree.com/theobjectivefan. Definitely go check it out. Scan the barcode, link in the description, links everywhere, and you will be able to access more of me. Now I'll let you get back to the content. But before I do, don't forget to subscribe. Like the channel, like the video, so more people can check out the video. But also, if you are a subscriber, consider joining the channel. Definitely. All right. Definitely check out that Linktree. Support the channel many different ways. Big time salute. Maxine told me to check out this comment. He's Tendro says Cat has Towns syndrome. Damn, that's crazy. What what is Town syndrome? Man, I don't know. But definitely call up 646-995-8389. Call up. We're gonna, the calls will be brief. It's not gonna be like, I gave y'all one off last night. Calls will be brief. Call up and voice your opinion. I did have a call. Let me see if this guy ready to talk now. 646-995-8389. Voice of your opinion. Final call for calls. I do appreciate you guys for rocking with me. Continue to smash that like button and tell a friend you're live. Share the show, subscribe, all that good stuff. Check out Linktree. And yeah, chemistry issues. Now is the time to speak your mind. As far as the chemistry issues with Cat and everybody else, I don't know if it's underlying chemistry issues. I don't have enough information to say that. I'm just giving you instances. We're looking at it from the outside in. I play basketball, and the game of basketball, even though we love it and it could be fun, it has levels of frustration. Sometimes you're going to yell at your best friend. If you hooping with your best friend, y'all going to just get it on. And that's just part of the game. That's part of what basketball is all about. And, you guys, you can't just make it that way. Oh, we do got a caller. Hello, caller. State your name. Let the people know where you're calling from.
Yo, what's up? It's Dorkosaurus Rex. How you doing?
Big time salute, Dorkosaurus Rex. Glad to have you in the building. So where you want to go? We got a short call, but I'm curious to know which direction, which topic intrigues you the most.
I mean, for me, I feel like people are kind of looking at red herrings. Like, yes, all the starters should be better. But realistically, with the game that they all played last night, even with, they weren't having maybe their best game, they could have won. The reality is that people don't want to talk about that the bench that Leon Rose assembled. What I've been saying since the offseason is that last year, what was the issue? We have the lowest scoring bench in the NBA. So Leon Rose, he went and got a bunch of scorers, right? Yabusele, Landry Shamet, Jordan Clarkson, proven vets, right?
Right.
We fixed, quote unquote, the scoring issue, but our defense is so much worse for the bench that it gets canceled out. And my whole thing is that Jordan Clarkson is a bottom 3, bottom 5 defender in the NBA. Yabusele, as we all see, is unplayable, yet he still gets minutes. For God's sake, I don't know why. And Landry Shamet has been nothing but a negative defender in 8 years in the NBA. There's not one quote from any team that he's been on. There's not one statistic anybody could put. Only the Knicks think he's an elite defender. And we saw, thank God, we got him back last night for that defense he played. The unbelievable defense. So for me, it's just like we are more worried about looking like contenders and that people should judge us like contenders than what an actual contending is. Jordan Clarkson has come in for the last month of games and been a minus 18 every single game. Every single game, like clockwork, minus 18. Every single game, Yabusele comes in and bricks 4 threes every single game. You can't afford that. We don't have time to develop Landry Shamet and Yabusele on a contender. We don't have time for that.
So I got a question. Do you think that we should around Brunson and Towns, because that's the direction we're going in, right? Those are our star players. So should we just get a whole bunch of defensive guys that can shoot too? I'm not saying they got to just be a whole bunch of Mitchell Robinsons, but should we get some defensive guys where there's no weak links defensively around those two to help, make at least the defense
I think
better?
A real big discussion that needs to be had is I think Wingstop has been a failure. I think Wingstop, my whole thing that I've come to is that they're not really wings and they don't stop anybody. When have they been an effective defensive duo? If you actually look in the overall playoffs plus minus last year, not one game plus minus is noisy, I understand. But overall, in the whole playoffs last year, the two most negative players were Mikal Bridges and OG Anunoby. And Mikal Bridges was like a minus 31. Mikal Bridges was minus 69. OG Anunoby was minus 31. We see they can't stop anybody. And you can't have two wings where one is 6'8" and one is 6'6", and is soft and hates contact. You automatically create a mismatch for the other team. If they have two 6'8" guys, and both of them are strong and like contact, then what do you get by having two wings and one is 6'8" and one is 6'6"?
Man,
Mikal Bridges is not a wing; he's a shooting guard at best.
Man, you know what, Dogosaurus? I appreciate that. Great insight. I've been saying we need to flip one of them for a bigger guy, but I appreciate your call, and I look forward to future calls. Great points. I agree with a lot of what you said, especially about Wingstop. That's why I'm willing to make a move that a lot of people don't. But I appreciate you, Dogosaurus Rex. I look forward to your next call. All right.
Peace out, bro.
Big time salute. Hello, caller. State your name. Let the people know where you're calling from.
It's your boy Lauren, man.
How's it going, man? I appreciate you. We had an interesting talk last night. So what say you in the morning? Are we a little calmer in the morning? Do we feel a little better?
I'm gonna get back to this main point that I wanted to make, that Karl Anthony Towns is becoming low-hanging fruit for those who want to criticize the Knicks overall. I'm gonna get back to that point, but I want to touch on something that the last caller just said about the Knicks bench. Okay. I'm gonna start by saying this. In my opinion, since Leon Rose has been here, the Knicks bench has never been the problem, ever. And I'm gonna give you an example why I'm saying this. Because Knicks fans also said benches that included Obi, Grimes, McBride, Hartenstein, Mitch, Burks, Precious was not enough. I don't know what Knicks fans think benches are in the salary cap league, but in my opinion, the bench has never been the problem. Under Tibbs, it was that he literally never used them, because the same Obi that we said was not enough has eliminated us twice in the playoffs.
Yeah.
The same Grimes that people told us was garbage went to the Mavericks, balled, is balling for the Sixers now, right? The same Precious that people fried last year just cooked us. So it's not the bench. It's never. If there's anything that Leon does very well, it's he understands how to be resourceful. I'll say that, right? But going back to my original point, Karl Anthony Towns is becoming low-hanging fruit, because I called him yesterday and I said, for $60 million, he's definitely not doing what he's supposed to do at all. So he's worth the criticism. But we are letting other people off the hook, though. And it's becoming a low-hanging fruit, and this is what we do often, right? When we lose and a player is out, the excuse we give is it's because that player is out. We just did that with Josh Hart. When we went on this 7 million game losing streak, our excuse was, oh, Josh Hart is not here. If OKC is missing somebody in the lineup, it doesn't change the identity of the team. They still hoop, right? And I'm only mentioning OKC because we're talking about contenders. When the Spurs were missing De'Aaron Fox, didn't stop them. When they were missing Wemby, didn't stop them.
Didn't stop, exactly.
It's like so like the core is, I'm gonna criticize Mike Brown because I've been the biggest Thibodeau critic when he needed to be criticized. Mike Brown needs to figure out how to get the best out of this roster. It's yes, Cat is a problem. My boy Mikal Bridges, for some reason, he doesn't know what a layup is. I don't understand what that is. Like, I don't know how you don't know what a layup is. I love OG. OG balled yesterday. He could be a little bit more coordinated to get us what we need, though. Like, it's a lot of things going on that the Knicks as a whole need to do. Yes, Karl Anthony Towns at $60 million is frustrating.
Right.
But us focusing on him is letting too many people off the hook, though.
Big facts. But yo, D, I appreciate the call.
No doubt.
Great stuff. And I look forward to your next call. I know you coming with the fire. I know it. So, but I appreciate you, brother. All right. Big time salute, man. We'll take one more call. If somebody else wants to call up, 646-995. Great stuff. I'm gonna touch on Brunson as well in a brief second, but just to respond to what the brother just said, I thought both calls were really good, even though they both disagreed on the bench. I see it from both perspectives. I think that I'm not sure if this is the best bench that we've ever had from a standpoint of what we had on both sides of the ball before. You had Hartenstein, like he said, you had Josh Hart coming off the bench, who's a starter now. You had Quickly, who's a starter now. You had a lot of guys who's starting now coming off. Grimes started a lot of games for Philly, right? And now I feel like we have a lot of guards, so while I won't say the bench is bad, I think we got a good bench. I just think that Mike Brown doesn't trust our guys who are over 6'8" on the bench, and that's problematic. So you know what I'll do? I'm gonna touch on the Brunson stuff. We did get some news on Brunson in terms of the injury update. For those of you guys that are checking out the show to get the Brunson stuff, this is the latest thing we've seen with Brunson. That he's labeled day to day, right? So actually last night, the good news about last night's game was he was actually questionable for last night. And then they changed it to, they're going to keep him out. And day to day is great. He didn't have a walking boot. I mean, that's the injury. Oh, that's Josh Hart. But he didn't have a walking boot. So none of that stuff. So we seen Jalen Brunson, get minor sprains and come back within a day or two. I'm thinking that this is what it will be. And I'm thinking that Jalen Brunson will return for this Phoenix Suns game. And I think that that's going to be enough to propel us over the Suns. Like I said, the Suns are not playing their best basketball. They they recently lost as well. And this will be our chance at a redemption. We're usually good in redeeming ourselves on the year. I don't have the revenge tour stat in front of me, but so I think that we will avenge this loss. And we're also 9-6 after a loss. So we're above 500. We usually don't lose a lot of games in a row. I think that we can respond. I think we have the tools to beat them. I think that us not turning over the ball, against the Warriors and even against Sacramento, I don't think turnovers was that much of a problem. I think it's important against the Suns. If we can protect the ball, we can beat the Suns. The Suns are a team that rely on steals, stops, and transition threes. If you eliminate the turnovers, you kind of take away a little bit from what makes the Suns an effective team. But it's looking like we're going to get Jalen Brunson back. There's no guarantees, but I do think that you're going to get him back. But here's something that I also saw in this article. I'm trying to give you a positive update, but I am the objective fan. I did notice this. The inverse ankle sprains are really common, and unfortunately, they beget themselves, thus indicating the non-contact injury. He was just doing a move and then pretty much just twisted his own damn ankle, right? Now, here's the concern, because it's the same ankle. The more you sprain it, and this is, by the way, this is a doctor at a physician at Rothman Orthopedics. He said the more you sprain, the more unstable it is, the more you keep spraining. Now, that is a concern. So my guess is with this, even if it's a lower grade sprain, they may err towards giving it a little bit longer so they can give him for the postseason. And that's from a doctor. Typically, ankle sprains are graded 1 through 3. I know early in the season he was only out a week, which would be consistent with a grade 1, Gwen said. When you're getting towards a month, that's like last season's sprain, that's usually grade 2. And in which case, there could be a partial ligament tear there. Watching the video, he was able to walk off the court. He was able to weight bear and all of those things. So presumably, this looks like another low-grade sprain, like the one he had last season, okay? The biggest concern is that he had 2 in one season following a bigger one before. See, that is the concern. But good news is he'll more than likely be back, if not the Phoenix game, probably Monday for the Dallas game. But that's my Jalen Brunson update. Hopefully you guys, find some closure in that. He to be fair, he did the same thing last year. So he tweaked the ankle a couple of times. So this is not the first time we've seen him tweak the ankle a couple of times, but it is something to note. But Maxine, are we good on your end? I'm good on my end. I was gonna touch on Josh Hart, but we could save that for another episode. I do appreciate everyone who called in. My man Dorkosaurus Rex. Salute to my man D from LA as well. And salute to everybody that's in the chat supporting, rocking out this morning. Hopefully you guys are enjoying your commute to work, or your off day, or whatever's going on. Hopefully we was able to give you some good information. That's what this show is about. The Blue and Orange Breakfast Show, 9 a.m. And we're doing it Fridays and Wednesdays, but the days can change. But Fridays, it seems to be a fixture for this show. But be on the always, if you want to see what we got going on, check out that live section, and then make sure you have your bell icon on for your notifications as a subscriber, so that way you get the notifications when we go live, because sometimes something will happen like Mike Brown, and then I'll do a show because it's something that came up. So like right now, we don't plan on doing Knicks Nocturnal, but hey, if a big trade happens, we definitely gonna do a show. So the best way to know when we have content coming is to subscribe and hit the bell icon. But I do appreciate you guys, all of the channel members that was in the building tonight, all of the subscribers, the mod. I see you, HRM the Great, Knicks Tape Madness Discord server channel member. I do appreciate you. Smash that subscribe button, smash that like button, hit the link tree. All right. And I do appreciate you guys, man. That's all I got for you this morning. And as always, win or lose, I mean, it's tough right now because we expect this team to be great, but they haven't shown us that. But until next time, as always, let's go Knicks.